Thank you very much, Renita. Welcome in, everybody, and I hope you're enjoying an opportunity to join the volunteer community in Cochrane today on a rainy day, which is perfect to listen in. So I'd like to introduce the Cochrane and Area Hospice Society. We are an organization that is focused on creating the best end-of-life journey for people in our community. And that community doesn't just include Cochrane proper, but we have an area that reaches as far as Bragg Creek, areas such as Bears Paw, Springbank. So we're a very large geographic area that we do cover, including Cochrane. So it's an important service that we try to offer as a volunteer community. Bereavement care options that are available to people, the quality of palliative care that's available to people, home care options. We are very much acting in the role of advocates and educators to allow people to know what's available to them. We are a non-professional organization, so we ensure that any people that come to us, we certainly try to pass them on to the experts in the field so that they can find the solutions that they need that suit their family and their loved ones. We do a lot of advocacy work, so a lot of getting out there and creating awareness through different programs that we do, and I'll talk about those programs shortly. The demographic that we serve, often end of life is associated with elderly, and it's not limited to elderly. It's a part of a life journey that can end at different stages of people's lives. Obviously, young people can be impacted in that as well as the individuals involved in end of life. So it does impact everything from youth to young adults, older adults, into our senior community and older population. And it also has a big impact on the families that are involved. So we really are aware and understanding of the fact that it's not just about the person that's reaching their end of life. It's about the people that love them, the people around them, their family, their friends who are impacted by this, both prior to, during that journey. And once that individual's journey is over, a lot of people experience grief, and how do they manage that grief? So we as an organization really try to act as a resource to help people find solutions, become part of a community that embodies bringing people together to explore their grief and through a non-professional context. So the types of things that we do are largely involved in activities that can bring people together so that they can find information out. So we run programs presently that include items such as Hike for Hospice that creates recognition of palliative and hospice care. It's bringing people together, and hopefully as we exit COVID into 2022, we'll be able to do these programs face-to-face and in person once again. The virtual world has been something we've dealt with over the last 18 months, but it's certainly going to be good to be in person again. So those relationships and Hike for Hospice that get created, we find become friendships for the long term. People meet each other. They realize that they're sharing equitable situations about loss and grief. And it gives them a chance to do the Hike for Hospice for awareness, but also to meet others that they can talk to about their experiences of loss and how they're coping with it. Other programs that we do that we believe are really important is we have a weekly grief support walk that we do Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. The grief support walk is important in that it allows a community to come together on a weekly basis. So it becomes a group that recognizes each other. They have their ups and downs as they're going through their grief recovery period. And it allows them just the comfort of knowing there's people that they can reach out to and talk to week to week and during the week. So we really promote the grief support walk on a weekly basis. We're considering expanding it to potentially having a walk in the Bragg Creek area and trying to consider a walk on the weekends so that it's available to more people as well. So in terms of the other types of things that we do. Many people in Cochrane specifically have heard about our remembrance tree that we do during the December timeframe. And it's a recognition for people to be able to think about the people that they lost. It's an opportunity for them to have a place where they can come and visit and grieve at a personal level with family, with friends. And once we are out of COVID, we will come back to where the end of that Remembrance Tree month becomes a celebration opportunity to really consider getting everyone together to celebrate the lives of those people that lived, because that is a big part of this journey. It's a celebration of people's lives that's important. So the short term right now has been very much around advocacy and awareness. And as we move into the longer term strategies for the Hospice Society, a big part of it is two areas that we're looking at. One is a respite program that's being considered at this point, that is something we would do within the town as an opportunity for people to have an active location that they can go to and have conversations about that. And these are things that are going to lead to the volunteer conversation shortly. The other area that we're really considering is Cochrane and area. We presently don't have palliative beds in our community. And part of our long-term goal is a strategy of raising awareness so that we can eventually create partnerships in our community with groups such as the Bethany Care Center, the Big Hill Lodge, Points West, and organizations as such, to potentially have 1 to 2 palliative beds that become available in our community. We're looking at the potential of a palliative bed that could be in Bragg Creek once the seniors facility in Bragg Creek is established and built. So our longer term goals are important to us, and they require people to really present that advocacy on our behalf. And that's the importance of our membership, is they are our spokespeople, and they are spokespeople within the community, and they become our spokespeople to different areas of the community, whether it's government, whether it's business, whether it's personal level relationships. They get the word out as to what end-of-life care is all about and what the Hospice Society is all about. So as we move on to how volunteers become involved, what I'm going to do is show a little video that what hospice is, just so that it gives you some clarity as to what hospice is all about. And then we'll talk a bit about what the volunteer opportunities that are available within hospice in Cochrane and area. So I'll just switch over to the video. So hopefully everybody could hear the video and have a little bit of a better understanding and clarity as to what hospice itself is all about and how hospice connects to the end of life palliative component of the journey as well. So how do volunteers fit into all of this is the question that we most often get. And the first thing is, from a volunteer area, we could not exist or operate without volunteers being involved. And the scope of what volunteers can do in becoming part of an end of life journey is endless in a lot of ways. And we've tried to create a two-stage opportunity for volunteer involvement with our organization. The first is we've built a phenomenal relationship with Helping Hands in Cochrane as a volunteer organization, because often the basic volunteer need for a lot of people that are reaching end of life and when their families are dealing with all of the overwhelming areas that are involved in end of life care, little things that get left out is who's going to shovel the sidewalk in the winter? Can somebody help get groceries and deliver them? It's a lot of these little things that we overlook that are really, really important in allowing people to have their family time that they need during that grieving process, during that preparation process for end of life. So the idea of partnering with Helping Hands is it created a wonderful opportunity to engage the volunteer community within Helping Hands that can come and deliver a lot of those activities in support of people at that point of life. And we've had some amazing people that have worked in that area as volunteers for us. And the important part of that section of volunteers is there's no special palliative knowledge or palliative training, because they're all external elements that help families out during that time. So we recognize that there needs to be a volunteer opportunity for people that have no palliative specific knowledge or end of life specific knowledge. It's just people that really want to help families out. So that relationship is there. The advantage we have in working with Helping Hands is the volunteers are screened through the process that Helping Hands operates, including the criminal record checks, etc. So everything from a volunteer process is already in place that helps us. And I can't thank Helping Hands enough for this continued and ongoing relationship that we have. It's been awesome, and it will continue into the future. The second stage of what we work with for volunteers are people who are going to work directly with those that are in that end of life journey. And it's things like sitting down with somebody and reading to them, sitting down with them and singing with them. It can involve any number of crafts, doing things with people, having somebody for them just to talk to that's outside their family scope, that's something different for them. So we are, again, a non-professional group. So we don't specifically require nursing skills or medical skills. But what we do is we offer a training program through the Cochrane and Area Hospice Society that we've run in the past. We really did not do a lot during COVID simply because we couldn't be in people's homes. It really limited the ability for our volunteers to have an impact in that way. But hopefully, as we move forward into the summer and into the autumn, with the hope that we can once again be together with people directly, that will start to engage our palliative-based trained volunteers. So the way we work that process is people that show an interest in wanting to be more directly engaged in the palliative knowledge area. We offer a course through the Cochrane and Area Hospice Society. A number of our board members are former nurses, existing nurses, and professionals in the field, and they do the delivery of the course. It's an Alberta Health Services program that is delivered. So we bring in guest speakers and a variety of people. We look at running the course in two different ways. One is over a 3-day period, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But typically we are likely running the course over a series of weeks. We run it, I believe it's over a 7-week program, a few hours a week. And that allows people to really think about what they've learned in a given week, ask questions the following week. And it also gives a better opportunity to bring in different guest speakers on different topic areas of everything from grieving to managing families during bereavement, because it's a family scenario. It's not just about one person. So preparing people as volunteers to really work with an entire family becomes really important. So that training process is something that's available through us, and we'll explore that again in 2022 as the next likely phase of training that we'll do. So as I mentioned, at present we work very much at a level of advocacy. The training that we do with volunteers, if a family requests some support from a volunteer piece, we will provide that volunteer support. We work very closely, I shouldn't say we work very closely, but the rural palliative trained knowledge base from Alberta Health Services works very closely with home care out of the Cochrane Community Health Center. And home care will go into the local homes, work with those families, with those at end of life. And often they will engage in bringing in, through the Hospice Society, volunteers that can work with people in addition to the home care knowledge that's being provided in collaboration with the Rural Palliative Consult Service and medical services that are supporting the families. So the volunteer becomes part of a team and part of a collaborative group that are working with families to help them as best as they can. The tools that we also provide those volunteers is we've created something called comfort kits. And the comfort kits have a variety of information in terms of palliative information, depending on the makeup of the family that's involved. We will have information for youth, for children, what is the experience of losing somebody as a young child. So books that they can read that give them context as to what it's like to lose a parent, what it's like to lose a grandparent, and so on. So it's not just information about the person who is at end of life. It's a lot of information to help the family through the process that they're dealing with. A lot of comfort elements. There are journals that we put in there, comfort blankets that we put in there, and it's just a kit that we provide that allows a family to have some things that create exactly that, just comfort pieces that make them feel that they have things around them that can bring them some joy, some relaxation, some comfort in the process that they're going through. And it creates communication within a family with the information that we provide. Other things in that comfort kit that are important relative to the volunteer piece is we do have a sheet that lists what are the needs you have as a family when you receive that comfort kit. So what volunteer elements do you require? Are you interested in the volunteer elements that would tie into one of our palliative trained volunteers? Are you interested in things as simple as having your walk shoveled or having your groceries delivered, etc., having dry cleaning picked up, things like that that sound very simple but can become a really arduous task when a family is dealing with the things they're dealing with at end of life. So those are things that a family can list off, provide that to us as the Hospice Society, and then we can help coordinate and arrange the volunteer input and support that's available through us. In the longer term of what we're doing, a big part, as I said, was palliative beds in the community. That will obviously engage a lot of the volunteer capacity of our palliative knowledge base, but also the respite program that we're looking at setting up. That's going to be heavily volunteer driven. What we would look at in a program like that is a coordinator who is managing that program. We are directing that to a paid position of an individual that's working in creating the coordination for opportunities for palliative respite in a location within Cochrane at this point, likely through one of the churches in town that would offer that space for us. But then it's very heavily dependent on volunteers that would support that program. And that could involve discussion groups, family visitation, opportunities for family to find out information about how can they be helped in their grieving process. people who are experiencing the palliative journey coming in to talk about their experience at end of life and the process that they're going through. So we're in the midst of really discovering what that's going to look like. It's a program that's been presented to us through the Alberta Palliative and Hospice Association in collaboration with Alberta Health Services. So that's something that we're trying to expand our reach to provide in our community. And one of the final things that I'll bring forward is the question about who can volunteer. And it's not limited to older adults that volunteer in these roles, because families are involved in end of life, which involves everything from the individual at end of life, regardless of their age, but also children, youth, etc. That we also look for volunteers that are youth that are interested in this. So an example right now is we have a brand new nurse that has just graduated who has gone into the palliative stream for her work career, and she's become a member of our board. And it's wonderful having that youthful perspective coming in, wanting to advocate for people, wanting to be a volunteer working in that community. So we encourage all age groups for getting involved in the volunteer process, because it gives that opportunity for people to connect with the different age groups that are grieving in that process. So the volunteer stream is open to anyone. They can contact us through our website and through email at info@cochranehospicesociety.ca.